All right, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Greene, it's May 14, 2022. Please like and share this video. An alien takeover is currently taking place in the United States and worldwide, I guess throughout the galaxy. But it's not what you think, because aliens aren't real. That's a lie. There's no such thing as aliens, only demons, the devil, and Satan. But what sparked the interest of this story today was an article online that I read titled, "Prepare for the Arrival, Tech Pioneer Warns of an Alien Invasion." So let me shrink my head and show this to you, and then I'm going to explain what I think is really happening and how you should be prepared spiritually for said events currently transpiring. Remember when Donald Trump said it was an alien virus? He said that for a reason, because it was exactly what it was. And remember when I did that very viral video about an alien invasion of a dream that I witnessed? That was a vision that God gave me that happened in and around that time prior to the 2020 series of events that we can't really talk about. Well, that was also an alien warning. So what is this article talking about? It says that an alien species is headed for planet Earth, and we have no reason to believe it will be friendly. Some experts predict it will get here within 30 years, while others insist it will arrive far sooner, and I would argue it already is here. Nobody knows what it will look like, but it will share two key traits with us humans. It will be intelligent and self-aware. And then it goes on to say, the crux of the article, no, this alien will not come from a distant planet. It's not going to be those little green men or the fake information that we get from the DoD putting out with like UFOs and all this kind of stuff, which they would never put out information that they intentionally wanted you to see unless they wanted you to see it. It will be born right here on Earth, hatched in a research lab at a major university or large corporation. I am referring to the first artificial general intelligence that exceeds or reaches human-level cognition, which is also known as the singularity. I've talked about this for years. For example, Ray Kurzweil, the famous Google executive slash technologist, had written many books, which I've read, called The Singularity, and others, which talks about the merger of man with machine into a transhuman alien cyborg, where there are no longer humans because they've been integrated genetically and symbiotically with this alien life force. Because what's being created is an anti-human scientific agenda event, of which other technologists like Elon Musk are warning about, that it's not population growth we should be concerned about, human population growth specifically, but human population decline or depopulation. And the reason for that is he knows what many of us also know. What Ray Kurzweil knows, what this article is referring to, is that once human beings officially merge genetically, symbiotically, technologically with machines, they will lose their human-level genetics and capabilities. So think about this from the perspective of what's happened over the last couple of years, which we've seen a transition, and now a lot of focus. So let me explain to you, just give you some discernment here of what you need to be paying attention to next, especially for you believers out there that believe in our King, Jesus Christ. They're going to start selling this genetic modification and this new technology of synthetic engineering, where they literally program new sets of instructions that go against God and the perfect creation that was Adam and Eve and all of our descendants up until this point. And they're going to sell it as benefiting your health or preventative medicine or cures for disease. I mean, all of you guys want to be super healthy and not get cancer, right? Well, then let us alter your DNA. Okay, so there's going to be this huge health conscious shift that I want you guys to be aware with, because it's going to be a really sexy sales job, which these things always are, but you'll actually be giving away all of your humanity and the perfect creation, which I believe will only separate you eternally in hell away from Christ and away from God. Now, keep in mind, I'm health conscious. I care about my body. I just went out on a 6-mile jog run. I work out. I lift weights. I do all these things. I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete my entire life. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I don't have the discernment to want to put foreign substances and chemicals into my body. Now, we're seeing this with the food supply as they synthetically engineer, and they've been doing this with seeds for a very long time, of which there's very few like organic seed vaults even left in the world. We're seeing it with the human body. We're seeing it with jobs. And as the global population moves to this entirely new system where humans really aren't needed. I mean, with robotics, general specialized AI, human beings aren't needed for those traditional 9-to-5 jobs, which is why they've gotten rid of corporate America now and they're allowing remote work. It's not to help you guys out. It's not because you know, they somehow care about you and want you to have a little bit more freedom away from the office. It's that you're literally no longer needed. Okay, and the whole social structure and design of modern society is one big illusion and deception. Education, healthcare, government, all these things are control mechanisms to keep people in line so they do exactly what the governments want them to do, operate in unison like the hive of bees that are governed by the queen or king, as is the case of modern society. You know, I always say follow the money. I mean, for example, right now on this earth lives the Antichrist. The beast is literally here. He is actively worshipped by most men, and he is actively deceiving most of the human population as we speak, even right now, May 14, 2022. And a lot of you know who this person is, and you should be smart enough to know who this person is. Just look to who's increased their wealth the most as a result of these accidents that happened over the last couple of years. It just happened to take their net worths, you know, 1,000x from where they once were. Again, that's all by design. It's all been planned. And now they've laid the infrastructure where there's no longer sovereign nation states in control of their respective countries. Okay, all they do is declare an emergency like we got in the last couple of years. And of course, it overthrows specific government agency because it's a crisis. And anytime there's a crisis, whether or not it comes out of nowhere, it's an accident, or it's man-made, it overthrows, again, the sovereignty of the respective civil liberties, rights, and governance of traditional nation states like the United States. And it's not just happening in the United States. I mean, even if we look at Ukraine, for example, Zelensky is meeting with these international bodies as we speak, as Americans print debt of cash money they don't have, which is creating hyperinflation where mothers can't even get, you know, milk for their babies or their toddlers in terms of baby formula, which, by the way, mothers should not give your kids baby formula. It's poison, in my opinion. And the only people getting rich off that poison are the Fortune 100. Babies need mother's milk. Here's a perspective. Here's what I want to sink in today. These people that are anti-God and anti-human and don't believe in Jesus and don't believe in the perfect creation want to alter themselves, merge with machines, upload their consciousness into synthetic AI so that they can live forever in a transhuman agenda infinitely, okay, in terms of their own self-preservation. And what they're doing is they're opening up portals and building AI in their own image, which could only be described as the beast itself. Now, keep in mind, after 3 years of doing nothing, they've actually reopened and are starting to work with CERN again. I've reported on this as well. So they've opened up those portals. And many people in the open AI space, for example, have even said things like they're ushering in the demons as a result of AI. Elon Musk has even said this. He says we're basically calling on demons.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out.
In fact, he even said, and I posted this on Twitter, where he actually endorses and encourages hell, and says in a response to a reply to somebody I think who had offered a blessing to him that he would much rather go to hell because that's where the majority of all people that have ever lived are going, so he wants to go there too. So again, the people in power designing companies, okay, that are putting microchips in your head, like the company Neuralink, and there's other companies like that that are taking microprocessors and synthetically lacing it and hardwiring it into the perfect conscious mind, of which they control through a hive, okay? And all those bees will then operate and work in unison into whatever future model in Luddite fashion that they're designing and creating. So these are some intellectual, moral questions I'd like for all of you to ask today. This is the truth about the alien design. There are no aliens. There's just demons that are being created by men on this earth that worship themselves as gods. Okay, you look at, for example, the book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, where he says things like basically realizing that he's had everything, he's had all the wealth, he's had all the power, he's had all the women, he's had all the concubines, he's had all the good and drink and food and real estate, and he was able to be merry his whole life, realize it's all for nothingness, it's just grasping at straws, and that it's just sand running through his fingertips, of which time is working against him, and ultimately it is only glorifying King Jesus and showing his power and omniscience and his complete governance over all of humanity and all of our lives. So here's the positive upside. None of this is going to work. Everything these tech billionaires are attempting to do to redesign human beings, because they suck so bad, they could never create the human image of what Jesus created, what God the Father created, taking the rib out of Adam and making a perfect companion and a woman of which are equal partners. Because they can't do that, the only thing they can do is what Satan would do, is pervert it. Okay, so what it is it's giant, ugly, hideous beast, only could be described as an antichrist perversion, of which they meddle and infiltrate with what God has built, okay, which will only damn them eternally. And so that's what's going on here. This is what the reason for everything that just happened. It's much more high level than what I think a lot of people see at the surface. And so I just wanted to point this out today with, discernment. And I think a lot of you have this same discernment. Things I want you to be aware of as they push forward, because they already won. Okay, what happened over the last couple of years was a giant victory for these people. Now they've laid the foundation, they've moved all the assets, they're redesigning the world's geopolitically, and most importantly, the most powerful resource on this planet, which is human consciousness and people itself. And now they're going to attempt to transition those people into their own design, a perversion of God's perfect creation, which will only end in what I believe is the new technological Tower of Babel, which will collapse and be destroyed by fire, just like the first one. And again, it tells us in the Bible that when Jesus returns a second time, he's coming with a sword, ladies and gentlemen. He's not coming to bring peace. Every knee shall bow, and every human being will not be hidden from the power and the glory of our King Jesus upon his imminent return. So anyways, guys, I love you so much. God bless. Jesus Christ is King. Stay prepped. Get the food you need. Buy the gold and silver. Get the crypto. Get your sovereign assets that you're going to need to build your financial, economic, spiritual arcs in the eye of a storm, because it's exactly what we're in as they create this alien, life force, demonic technology, which will be sold very sexily to you as life extension and health enhancements, and you'll never age, and you'll look younger, and you'll even get a six-pack abs as long as you allow the meddling in the genetic perversion and alteration of God's perfect creation, which will only eternally separate you from the Lord and our King Christ. So I urge you not to do that, and to have discernment, and to be fully and absolutely and entirely awake to the evil, malevolent agenda of these people that want total world global domination and control, and are attempting now, because they're so fearful and pathetic and fearing death, that they're attempting to live forever, which will only self-destruct and fail on every level that they intend. I'm Christopher Greene. Like and share this video. I'd like to hear your thoughts, comments, questions in the box below. Please share it, and, pun intended, make it viral.